Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of The Gridiron Glory, where we cover 32 teams in the NFL, and the two teams we're covering tonight are the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. The participants in Week Two's Sunday night football matchup with the Texans coming away 19-13. Another solid showing from C.J. Stroud, 23 for 36, 260 yards, a touchdown, no interception. So big game there. Cam Akers did what he could on the ground in relief of Joe Mixon, who left the game with an injury and came back for a bit, but did not stay back. So Akers 7 for 32, Mixon 9 for 25 before the injury. So an interesting situation in the Houston backfield right now, considering the Mixon injury and how long he'll be gone. Nico Collins, a huge game, receiving 8 catches for 135 yards and a touchdown on 10 targets. So big game there, very productive, made the plays you have to make. Was a reliable target for Stroud, so he did what he could there.
The Bears kind of a shaky showing.
Yeah, really shaky from the Chicago offense. Their offensive line, yeah, I don't know what you can say for this offensive line. You let your rookie quarterback get sacked 7 times. That's never a good look. Obviously, Williams a bit indecisive in the pocket, and it's not all on the offensive line. He needs to be more effective on getting rid of the ball and taking check down, stuff like that. But the offensive line could definitely have done more to help him, and they also didn't help much in the run game when you have lead running back DeAndre Swift only getting 18 yards on 14 carries. That's just the offensive line, a very disappointing showing for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, very disappointing showing for the Chicago Bears. Very disappointing moment for Caleb Williams. He couldn't really rise up to the moment. You felt like, definitely not a whole lot. You got that drive in the second quarter, before halftime that kind of gave them some momentum. They couldn't really get anything going after that. They did get that drive late in the game that led to a field goal that kind of gave them some momentum. So then the defense couldn't get the stop, and the Texans were able to do what they needed to do. C.J. Stroud went out there, played very strong football in the first couple of quarters. Didn't have to do a whole lot in the second half necessarily because his defense went out there and did a really good job. Let's not forget this is a really strong Texans defense as well. So the Texans defense played lights out. The offense played lights out. Caleb Williams could not rise up to the moment, and just an all-around well-rounded win for the Houston Texans football club.
Yeah, and I think you got to give some credit to Kamari Lassiter, the rookie cornerback from Georgia, pulling off his first career interception of Caleb Williams there. So a big play by the rookie cornerback. He also had 4 tackles and a deflection. So some defensive players there making plays. You also, of course, have the 2 rushers, Danielle Hunter with 1.5 sacks, 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits. Will Anderson, 4 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits. So your star grouping there in the middle, rushing at the quarterback, they were very effective once again.
Very effective once again, indeed. Cam Akers, Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, you mentioned it. The receiving core, Stephon Diggs went out there, got some big plays. I'm going to go ahead and get your take on Nico Collins. And where would you rank Nico Collins amongst NFL wide receivers?
Yeah, I mean, he's an up-and-coming receiver, a player that's showing immense potential and living up to it, off to a very, very promising start to the year, making the big plays, making the reliable plays, touchdowns, first downs. Like I said, that catch he had last week against the Colts to seal that game, one of the most impressive catches I've seen all year. So, yeah, I'd rank him fairly highly in the list.
A very solid player in his up-and-coming career, the 4th-year wide receiver out of Michigan, the 25-year-old. So I would say he's starting to finally develop into a very solid receiver. I mean, he hasn't even hit his prime yet. And can get this thing, if you can get this thing going with CJ Stroud, and I mean, Houston's about to be a good football team for a while.
Yeah, they're there. Houston, this is their
This is big.
time to stake claim. They win the division last year, and now 2 games into the season, they already have a 2-game lead in the division once again. So a very, very impressive start for this team. And yeah, they're just gonna continue to grow as a team, and we'll just see how they develop. This is a team that could be a real contender in the AFC. I mean, they're like one of the favorites. I'd say that I see them as a team that could potentially challenge and get to the AFC Championship game. Even I wouldn't be too surprised if we see Stroud in the AFC Championship game.
I also want to give a shout out to Daniil Hunter. 3 solo tackles, a sack and a half, 2 tackles for loss, 2 hits with the quarterback. What do you think about former Viking Daniil Hunter?
Yeah, Daniil Hunter. I did bring up his stats a bit there as well. So he's a player that can go out there, make big plays. He does what he does, stuff the run, get to the quarterback. He's very athletic. He's a rusher that you need multiple guys to block him. And of course, you're not going to have multiple guys to stop him with the Houston D-line, as I mentioned. You also have Will Anderson, who's a factor, the second-year player there. So very difficult decisions when figuring out what you want to do to try to stop the Houston pass rush.
Yeah, no doubt about that one for sure. You know, it's certainly a very tough decision when it's all said and done. So now it's just really a matter of can the Chicago Bears. I mean, let's talk about the Chicago Bears, the flip side of this football game. Caleb Williams not being able to really rise up under the primetime lights. What does he need to do to bounce this team back?
He needs to develop. He's not there yet as an NFL quarterback, and it's painfully obvious to see. Caleb Williams could very well go out and have a high-level career, but it seems to me he's not ready for the moment yet. He needs to adjust to the NFL game. I think he will. He's just not there yet. He needs to focus on his passing mechanics, focus on getting the ball away, not trying to just scramble around and hope for the best. When you're at USC, as he was in college, you can scramble around, be athletic, and just out-athletic everyone, make plays, rush for amazing first downs, get outside the packet, make great throws. But when you're facing high-level NFL defenders, that's not always going to work, and he did not have a good time realizing that the first 2 games. That's an adjustment he's going to need to make early on in his career.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a fact. That's going to be a very tough thing to, he's going to have to overcome and achieve. So being able to still go out there and be a leader for this Chicago Bears football team. Texans win 19-13 Sunday Night Football. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow all season long. This is the Gridiron Glory, where we cover all 32 teams all season long.